Just a couple of hours ago, it was Formula One cars racing around this magnificent, historic racetrack known as Monza. Now, it's the turn of the Skip Barbers, as they will go 1, 2, 3, maybe even 4 wide, down into each of the 3 chicanes that make this racetrack oh so special. It's the Skip Barber 2K World Cup. It's Sunday night, Skippies, and our coverage will start after this.
The NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series powered by iRacing.com has officially begun.
Well, it's Sunday night, and that, of course, means it's time to go Skip Barber racing here on RaceSpotTV as we welcome you to the 12th and final round of this season for the Skip Barber 2K World Cup. And, well, we head ourselves to Monza. It is the fastest racetrack in all of Grand Prix racing. It's also the fastest track that we go to all season long. Now, just a couple of hours ago, it was Lewis Hamilton who scored himself a victory, albeit in some controversial fashion, here at Monza. But now we do the same here, Skippy-wise, with Richard Avery in touching distance of a championship. 323 points is his post total after 11 rounds. That is the best 7 of 11 rounds counted. Ricardo Ferrer in second, Vinicius Rocha in third, and then Philippe Leburn fourth. They can see the top 12 up on your screen, so plenty to be won and lost in this, the final round of the championship. And oh, don't worry, we will see drivers going literally flat out the parabolica down towards the final corner, so down towards the start finish line. And who knows, we may well get ourselves yet another photo finish. Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Will Vincent along with Cameron Walsh here on RaceSpotTV. And Cam, when you go to Monza, we know one thing: this racetrack, it's fast.
Oh, that it is. They managed to put in a couple of chicanes this time by. If anyone had seen previous, we've covered a Skip Barber race or two here at Monza, so we know what we're in for. But if this is your first time seeing the Skip Barber cars racing around Monza here, boy, it's going to be quite a treat. And yeah, the track should be all warmed up. That support race with those oversized V6s are all sorts of done. Now we can get to the real racing. We've got, how many people do we have here? 26 individuals, 24 of them posted times, so it's going to be a quite packed field. We'll have to see what these Skip Barbers are going to want to do, but Will, it's going to be a kind of a race where nobody gets away from anybody.
Indeed, so we're going to ride ourselves then on board with Philippe Barber. This is him coming down to start his qualifying lap. There you can see the ticker will run along the top of your screen for qualifying. We'll also get lead drivers on the left-hand side of your screen in a couple of moments once they start their flying qualifying laps. But there is Barber in the number 2 machine. A couple of other people you need to think about here today. Well, it's a small field, 26 drivers here compared to what we're normally used to. Richard Avery, of course, he is the champion-elect in that number 29 car, getting himself ready to go and do a lap. They can see him in that number 29 machine, heading himself then down towards the exit of the Parabolica. Here he goes, off a lap will go Richard Avery. Well, he's looking at a very weird line there down towards turn 1, getting as much top line speed as he possibly can. We'll get that speed chart up for you very quickly here. 190 kilometers an hour in towards turn number 1. 195 kilometers an hour, yes we will, for Richard Avery there, almost hitting 200 kilometers an hour as he comes down into that first corner. And well, Avery is on to a lap now. All these drivers, as always, have themselves 2 laps to go as fast as they absolutely possibly can. And Cam, I know that you're going to want me to translate this into what we like to call American mathematics. So 200 kilometers an hour, that works out to be a total of 125 miles an hour.
About 120, 125, yes, which doesn't sound as fast, so we'll say they're going 200 kilometers an hour. It sounds faster. Yeah, these cars are, wait till they get in the slipstreams, they're probably going to be heading 128, 130 miles an hour with the overspeeds. Going into turn number 1, which will be mightily exciting to see. Hopefully everyone will make it through clearly. We had good luck at Oran Park. We've had good luck elsewhere this season. Let's hope we can continue that luck into that first chicane. As of course, Will, you can't really see Monza without saying high speeds, but then extraordinarily short and very quick braking zones.
Indeed, we do apologise, ladies and gentlemen. We have just had a brief issue there. We're going to just step aside for 1 minute. We'll be back as quickly as we possibly can. No, actually, ladies and gentlemen, we do look to be okay. We do apologise there. We just seem to have had ourselves a little bit of an issue there. We'll just call it antivirus issue, shall we?
It's called Cameron's talking. That's the problem. That was the issue.
It is, but we're going to get those qualifying times now up on the left-hand side of your screen. They can see Philippe Barber with provisional qualifying of 2:14.065. Bruno Lampi in second, Brian Dow in third, Adrian de Verde in fourth. Then going here, Lucas Garcia, Winter, Lauren Ruggs, and Rip round out your top 10. We are waiting, though, for the driver of Richard Avery to head himself past the start-finish line. There you can see him in the number 29 car. He is about to complete his first lap. Where will he go? Well, he'll be P number 2 for the time being. Barber dominant on the first lap of the 2 for qualifying here. And Cam, it looks as though that Barber, he might not win the championship, but he's going to have himself a good start to this, the final round of the championship.
Well, that he should, unless other people's times mightily improve. I do notice on the side of Richard Avery's pod, it was a little discolored, so I watched him as he came by the start-finish line. He's managed to pick up a little bit of side damage. Now, that's very interesting. Normally, you'll see in an open formula car here at a track like Monza with these extraordinarily tall curbings or sleeping policemen or giant walls or whichever you'd like to call them. But it's surprising to see some damage on that side pod. These chicanes, they are rather high, and the tires are rather narrow and tend to pop these Skip Barber cars up. So hopefully, nobody will be doing a lot of self-inflicted damage. But I don't think that would slow Avery down with that side damage.
Of course, though, all the tyres are properly inflated here today. So no need to
Hey,
worry
hey,
about
maybe,
that one.
maybe. I don't know. There's some cars of color that I would call. It goes as far as to say is silver. At you know, you might want to double check those ones. Not that we're implying anything, of course, here on RaceSpotTV, but you know, we try. Oh, there's one car with a shark face on the front. I love those ones.
But of course, that segment was brought to you by the New England Patriots as Philippe Labor heads himself out of the Parabolica for the end of his second lap. Nora Lampe, division pole position. Can Labor respond as he heads himself past the start-finish line? The answer to that question is going to be yes. Philippe Labor back to the top of the timing stands there. First driver inside of the 2:13 range. Now we go back and look at Richard Avery. He's heading himself now. Exit of the Parabolica. Can he move himself back up to P number 1? He's all the way down in P number 8 at the moment. These times they do get faster. So now this sounds to be a very good lap for Richard Avery as he works himself past start finish line. The answer to that question is gonna be no, he won't. Richard Avery only P number 6, Cam.
Yes, and position is extraordinarily important, not necessarily because you can break away here at Monza, but because you don't want to be in the traffic when you get to those chicanes. Philippe Labert, the only car to get into the sub-14s. Everyone else is in the 14s and even into the 15s. So an amazing lap from Philippe Labert, and he is going to really enjoy having that front, especially here at Monza with the traffic.
Having a look on board then with Brian Dow, one of the last drivers on track. He has done both of his qualifying laps. He's not going to go any faster. He has done both of his laps. So what a pole position there, Cam, for Philippe Labert. You talk about that. It's only a tenth of a second, but mentally, being in the 13s, everyone else being in the 14s, it does make a difference.
Oh, it absolutely does. It increases your confidence. You sit there and go, wow, you know, I know that I am the fastest. You know, if you're the fastest out of that first qualifying lap, okay, you know, you're in a good shape. But that second lap, everyone is going flat out. Everyone's tires are all sorts of warmed up, and it's right in the window that you want to be in. And so it's just a very, very good, very confident that you're able to sit in that car. I'm on the pole. I'm going to be leading into the chicane. But when we all get to that first chicane, that's where trouble might start to arise.
You could well say he is the one and only, Cam.
Yes.
Good. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's run through your starting grid for this round number 12 of the Skip Barber 2K World Cup. Well, as you can see then, Philippe Labert, qualifying time of 2:13.975, playing pole position, like 68 1,000ths of a second over Nora Lampe in the 316 machine. Arjun de Verde in third place with Enzo Cantor on the outside of the second row of the grid. Then you got yourself Brian Down on P number 5 and Richard Avery alongside him in row number 3. Homer Locus and David Grunhill in row number 4. Row 5 sees Frank Winter and Matt Defoe line up side by side with Kepe Zelbid Garcia in P number 11 and Peter Clayton in P number 12. Dakota Fripp in 13th, Troyan Tran in 14th, Mikael Lormux in 15th, and then Jordan Lardy in the 16th position. Daniel Norglis Calcia in the 17th spot, with Dave Stefani in 18th, Marcel Seidel and Jerome Hug running out your top 20. Rest of the qualifying times then up on your screen. A total of 26 drivers take place here for Monza, the final round of the Skip Barber 2K World Cup. And yep, we've done almost, I think this is the 4th season now we're just about to complete here of Sunday Night Skippies, and we can confirm that we'll be back for another season starting in just a couple of weeks' time. And don't forget also, next week, next Saturday night, we've got ourselves the Eliminator event. It happens once every 13 weeks. We're going to do it all over again. As you can see, there's 17 laps here today for Sunday Night Skippies. Drivers on the grid, engines revving, the final round of the championship is underway here on RaceSpotTV, and immediately Labert going to dart across to the right hand side of the racetrack as the drivers storm down in towards turn number 1 for the first time as they line up behind him down in towards that first corner. They will come Who will have the inside line in towards turn 1? It will be Barber. The question will be, can he get that car slowed down enough? Yes, he will. The 316 car of Euro Olympic will be alongside him. Will they all now make it through turn number 1 for the first time? That first chicane, it looks like we've got a couple of people onto the gravel, but for the most part, everyone is through without any incident at all there, Cam.
My goodness, they managed to do it again. They've done it at Oran Park. They've done it pretty much anywhere, any racetrack. They have made it through the chicane, no problem at all. As Jose Blanco, who is going to be starting last, he is just exiting the pits now. He would, but no, Philippe Labert will be leading, and he's already managed a gap, which will be very important. If he can manage any sort of gap, as Blanco has pulled off and he's done, as if he can pull a gap, he can get out of that draft range. That would be huge.
Indeed, as you can see, all these cars are storming down into Les Lesmos for the first time in this event. What a wonderful sight to see so many of them without any incident at all. We have, say, got Jose Blanco out of the race there, and the number 63 machine. However, we had one driver not start the race, that was Neil Kemp. 25 drivers on track, and well, it's going to be a case now of a drag race down in towards the third of the 3 chicanes here. This is the Variante Ascari, the third of those 3 chicanes. As Bruno Lampi riding along board with him through that chicane. He is coming right about now, and then behind him, he will of course have himself a little bit of company, as that is going to be Arjun de Verde there, scored in the third position. We can just cycle that camera around there. You can see de Verde as coming down into the final chicane. De Verde will stay in line for the time being, Cam. So P2, P3 as are for the moment.
Yeah, so we've just about to complete our first lap here at Monza. First of 17 laps. Philippe Labert having came off of the pole. Now he is going to be completing that first lap, though he is already hugging that very interior line. As you can just see the train of cars. It's an entire straightaway of these Skip Barber cars going single file, as Labert is going to have a car on his outside. Well, actually, might have 2 cars on his outside by the time they get to the first chicane, but they do not, as it will be Juhan Moralompi as he looks to go around, but no, they all close up for the chicane. Pushes Philippe just a little bit onto the gravel there, but no problems there as they all come through the first chicane once again, and everyone manages to get through nice and clean. A little bit of a bulge of cars in the back, but ultimately, though, everyone is back into being a single file, which is a great thing to see, as we'll now start to see the drafting come into play.
Yeah, just for the moment, of course. And this is the look from the rear of Enzo Canto. As you can see side by side behind him, that's number 34 of Arjun de Verde and Richard Avery, the number 29 machine, trying to work themselves side by side together there. We've got ourselves some great racing going on, actually, all the way through the pack. And this is one thing that we have seen all season long. These drivers go at it hammer and tongue every single race, without question, without reasoning at all. Enzo Canto, of course, one of those drivers just pushing it right now. As we've got ourselves, well, down in the pack, also battles going on. Not as intensive as at the front of the field. As actually, we're just going to go back, so we've just moved away from side by side there. That was Cantor banning out of Urinal Olympia, so they worked themselves down into that third chicane, the Ascari chicane. And, well, Cantor's now up into P number 2, Cam.
Yes, he is, and that was a class move right there. If you race Skip Barber cars, this is a very familiar pass. It was the overspeed. These cars are quite hefty in the draft. There's really no aerodynamic do-hingles, or whichever technological term you'd like to use, to really make a lot of dirty air. So these things are like bullets, and it blows a lot of the air right out of the way, and so that allowed Kanta to just complete the pass entirely. He started this lap as he come through Paramalica in position 4. Now he's in position 2, and in his gun sights is the number 2 of Philippe Labert, as Enzo will be looking to move his way through there. As you also got Brian Dwell moving well to the outside, actually. He's not going to be getting any drafting help there, so I'm not sure if that's necessarily a smart move, but the entire field moves over to the right in one long chain as Enzo Canta has moved himself up to the lead in that overspeed, just as I was talking about, and Juhel Noralampi has another car on the outside of Richard Avery. Richard Avery, after a poor qualifying effort, he's moved himself right back up, Will. Yeah,
when you have a look at our movers and shakers in the race, Richard Avery is one of your biggest movers inside of the top 10, as well as Enzo Cantor. But Cantor is your second different leader of the day. Philippe Labert second, Richard Avery in third, then Ewan Orlampi and Arjun de Verde rounding out your top 5, side by side with Peter Clayton going alongside with, this is the driver of Dakota Fripp right now, heading themselves down into that second chicane they come. As you can see, actually a big pack of cars going side by side behind them. This is down into the second chicane as, oh, a little bit of contact there between the number 6 machine. That's Frank Winter and Kepes Garcia, but they will stay on it for the time being. Side by side they come also in towards their number 1. The winner of that one, Cam, is going to be Frank Winter.
Yes, he has picked up a little bit of that rear wing damage. Shouldn't affect the car too much. Was that a car off? Yeah. Yep. As there's actually what was that, Dakota?
No, it's not. It's Julian Lardy, number 212 car.
Yeah, I was going to say, well, not only that, there was a car that was pinned on the inside wall that I didn't see who that was, but there has also been another damaged car of Daniel Nogueras Carceler. So a couple of cars getting damaged on lap 3 here, Will.
Indeed there are. There's just a clumsy incident there. You can see I believe that was a 218 car who ran into the rear of Mr. Lardy in the 212 machine. But there you can see Kepa Stelivi de Garcia has got himself a little bit of damage, but he will try and ride that one out if he can to his one and only pit stop here today. Now Philippe Leber has gone back to the race lead, but they're going to storm themselves down towards the start-finish line once again. Let's go back along board with Cantor. Cantor again going to use that inside line to his advantage as well. Cantor will lead at the start-finish line. The gap between those two drivers is 84 1/1000ths of a second, Cam. That's going to get closer and closer as these drivers get more and more aggressive toward the end of this race.
Oh, we're talking about getting aggressive. Laurent de Vries is leading a pack of 6 cars right now into turn number 1. As they all come out of turn number 1, Laurent de Vries staying up front. Is that a new paint job Laurent de Vries is sporting, I believe? That's a lot more pink than I'm used to. As Brian Dwell and Juhan Nora-Lampi, as well as David Grunel, Paul Malokas, and Matt Defoe are all part of this group here, and they are all swapping positions at will. Throughout all of these straights and into the braking sessions, as Laurent de Vries will lead this pack once again into that second chicane, actually. He'll give himself a little breathing room with a little mistake from Dwell, but ultimately, though, you've got your front 3 cars, Enzo Canza, Philippe Leber, and Richard Avery, and then you've got this front pack. And I don't believe that those first 3 cars are going to be pulling away from this pack, though, Will.
Oh, no, I completely disagree. I completely agree with that.
I was going to say.
As we're running along board with the Vert, now you can see the gap between himself and the race leader. At this stage of the event, it is 2 seconds. Now the gap between himself and Richard Avery is 1.5 seconds. But the important thing is, if you get yourself to a position where you can put away, you've got to make sure then that you don't fight through the pit stop window and beyond, that you don't fight, Cam. And so often, those top 3 drivers will break away, then they'll start fighting, and likes the Verdin, your Lampe, Dow, and Gwen Hill will be right back there in it. As a lot of dust being kicked up there, but I believe that was Paul Malokas on the exit of Ascari.
Yes, as everyone's just trying to play nice, I think is the best way to put it. I don't want to say that they're taking it easy on each other. They're really not. They're just trying to get through this first section here. I think we've seen in all sorts of different forms of motorsport what can happen when Monza goes wrong. So they'll be trying to avoid that, and I think they'll have a good job avoiding that, as Enzo Canza will actually officially lead his first lap, as Philippe Leber will go around the outside, and I believe Richard Avery might also be trying to go on the inside. Actually, he'll swing down to the outside. Actually, they're going to go try and make it, take a pick which car you want going into turn number 1. Philippe Leber, though, will take it. Richard Avery's on the outside of Enzo Canza.
Yeah, let's not forget that this season has had some very clean racing. As Leber's going to mess up the first chicane, that's going to allow them to go 3 wide down into the curve of Grande. Philippe Leber lost out heavily there, and that's closed this pack all the way up, just as we were talking about. Now it's Cantor who leads this race from Richard Avery, then from Philippe Leber to Avery has moved himself through the field. Cantor has moved himself through the field, but something there happened to Philippe Leber in towards the first chicane, Cam. I think it might have just been cutting that first, the sausage curb just a little bit too much. You can see there. I think that's exactly what happened. A slowdown penalty for Philippe Leber.
Yes, and you can always argue slowdown penalties and stuff like that as far as a mechanic goes, but I think it's a very, very efficient system. It didn't ruin his race. The system went, okay, yeah, you gained a little bit of time here, give that little bit of time back, which he did. He's still in the race, but ultimately he did serve a little bit of punishment. Really prevents people from just completely cutting that chicane. He tricked it just a little bit there, went off to the side, let off a little bit, ended up getting Kanta and Avery past, but now look at it. This is one big pack as David Grinnell has managed to work his way through that first pack, and he is now right on the rear end of Philippe Labert as we are on lap number 5 of 17. These laps are just ticking by, Will.
Oh, yeah, and you can see just how big that front pack is. Our aerial coverage here today, ladies and gentlemen, brought to you by And1 Design. But you can see from our aerial coverage just how big that pack is right now. You've got a couple of them going side by side down in towards the Parabolica. We're going to zoom in down in your mid-pack. Just trying to figure out who that one is. It was actually, we got Matt DeFoe, Paul Malukas going side by side. So that's David Grunhill right there in the pack. Right now, up into P number 4. Going to go along board of him. He has got himself Philippe Labert just ahead of him. But we talked about, what, 195 kilometers an hour when they were going one wide. Look at this. 3 wide, battle for the race lead on board with David Grunhill. Labert has got the inside line, but look at the overspeed there. That Grunhill is getting in P4, 208 kilometers an hour. And that shows you just how important the draft is here at Monza, Cam.
Well, and even what's more amazing is you've got the Skip Barber 2K World Cup Series. They just took it from 3 wide down to 1 wide before they even got to the chicane. Nobody had to get forced off. Nobody had to slam on their brakes. It is amazing to watch this. You've got Philippe Labert now, Enzo Kanta, Richard Avery, and David Grinnell. Now you have Nora Lampi and then Aron de Vries. The rest of the cars have seemed to have fallen off in the fighting there as all 3 of the teammates there between Matt DeFoe, Paul Malukas, and Brian Doyle have fallen off the backs of Aron de Vries, but ultimately, though, this whole front pack, we said it wasn't going to split up, but boy, having this many cars in this front gap, you can't take any money at all on who you'd want to favorite as far as a winner goes, just because of how close everyone's going to be running.
No front wing there for David Stefano. We can just see him in the number 11 car all the way down in P number 16. Still up a couple of places from where he started here today. However, as Paul Malukas, Brian Dow, this battle, as always, will continue. It's good, though, to have yourself a couple of teammates in the mix when you go into a big, fast track like this, especially when it comes to pit stops, Cam.
Yes, and pit stops are a very important thing. We'll talk about that in just a second. But David Stefanini there missing that front wing. There's actually now a hole right in the front where that wing's supposed to go. Now all of the air is just going straight into his feet there. That has gotta feel that would feel uncomfortable, I would have to say, driving a car at about 125 miles an hour with a giant hole in front of your feet.
Well, yeah, it makes you cold very, very quickly. No matter what the ambient temperature is. It'll make your feet very cold just because of how fast it is. Yeah. But then you can see, we zoom in and you can see that. You just actually just about see the feet there of David Stefani as he comes down into the Parabolica. Number 11 car working himself in P number 16 for the time being.
Front, though.
Right lead. It is going to be Labert out front. Then on the inside is going to be Kanta. On the outside will be Avery. Down in towards that first chicane they come. Avery, oh, a little bit of a contact there between Kanta. Labert gets pushed off. Labert is again a victim of an incident whilst he is leading this motor race, Cam.
He is, and we'll get a replay for you back on that. We'll have to see what has happened there. It doesn't actually look like, though, by some grace of God, the wheels look straight on Philippe Labert's vehicle. A little bit of a dented front wing, but I have to say he was lucky there that he didn't do some rear wing damage, as Enzo Kanta had now had that incident. Now he has fallen well back past the 8th position car of Paul Malukas, as this has once again, managed to tighten everybody right back up.
Yeah, let's have a look then. Slowing it back down. This is where it's going to happen. Kanta, I think Kanta starts braking, and there's just nowhere for him, as he's a bit coming into the corner, there's nowhere for him to brake. We're just having a look above the trees, down in towards turn number 1 they come, and there you can see Enzo Kanta, he's closing up to the rear, Labert closing up, and as they come down into the braking zone, you can see Kanta going to try and make it 3 wide, and then he just hasn't got any room, just clips there, just the right rear corner of Labert. That pushes Barber forward. Barber then can't slow down as he needs to, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is why Philippe Barber is down in P number 6. But your race leader, well, it's your championship leader. It is now officially the driver of Richard Avery who leads this race, but only by half a second over David Grunhill. And that last time by, David Grunhill was the fastest driver on the racetrack. Lap number 7 of 17 pit window will open this time by. We'll see whether there's going to be any early takers on towards pit road, Cam.
We will, and pit stops are going to be extremely important as draft partners. In case you haven't noticed, drafting is slightly important here at Monza, which I know is a shocking statement, and filled with expertise from commentators who clearly would know this, as Enzo Canta actually has just been disqualified.
Wow. And Enzo Cantor's just pulled himself off the side of the racetrack. Enzo Cantor is out of the event, so on to pit road and out of today's event is Enzo Cantor. We'll try and get some word onto why that one might be a little bit later on. Grunhill, though, goes to the race lead, Cam, down in towards turn number 1.
Yes, he did. David Grunhill is now moving up to the front of the field as he's doing what he can. David Grunhill has moved himself up into the lead, though he started in 8th position, which is where Philippe Labert was after that incident, but he is now going to go. Actually, he'll have Richard Avery on the outside going into the inside into this the second chicane here. Juha Norlampi right into the battle once again with Aron de Vries now, who has been patient this whole race. I'm noticing a lot of patience from Aron de Vries as he is just sitting back and letting whatever chaos might be before him unfold. And now you've got a 4-car front pack with Philippe Labert just looking just a little ways away. He's about a second and a half back, and I can imagine in a couple of laps he'll be back up front with the rest of them.
Yeah, shout out to Vinicius Rocha, unable to race here today, but shout out to him. He is watching, along with many people, to see how the championship will conclude. But Avery doesn't need to win the race here today. Second place will be more than good enough for him. There you can see Labert up into P5. Now, I would expect him now to try and come in as soon as he sees those 4 cars. Any of those cars coming towards pit road, Cam, I expect to see him come in. He needs to have a dance partner when he gets back out onto the track, and that is his only way, I think, that he can find a way to get back into the mix. But his other advantage is he will be able to come in hard on towards pit road without running risk of running into the rear of someone.
Yes, I know these cars aren't very aerodynamic. They're not. They're shaped like a bullet for a reason, with these little fenders almost in place of wings. As somebody has pulled off, somebody is already going into the pits, and we have seen it come in, and Philippe Labert comes in, Paul Malocas comes in, Matt Defoe comes in. I believe that was Aron de Vries into the pit road first. Yes, it was. Aron de Vries opens pit road, lap number 9 of 17, Will.
Yeah, well, we talked about the fact that you'd get one driver in and then Labert will come in. That's exactly what happens. 3 teammates, and then you get yourself a Labert on pit road as well. So, let's see the pit stop times then. First of all, it'll be for diverters. They now fill up the tanks. They won't be taking tyres. They never take tyres here unless they have to here in the Skip Barber 2K World Cup. But the pit stop timer then out and away, 14.6 seconds. Philippe Labert comes out of pit road in 13.6 seconds. Paul Malocas 13.5, and well, this has worked well for Philippe Labert. That 1 second has given him a draft, and that is going to be critically important for the latter stages of this event. Lap 9 of 17, Labert potentially just a tiny bit of a break there. 0.7 of a second ahead is Arjun de Vries, and that is a gap that he needs to be able to get himself the draft once we get ourselves down to this next back straightaway. You can see out front though, Juha Norlampi has gone to the race lead by 0.3 of a second over Richard Avery. Exit of Lesmo number 2. They work themselves down the back straightaway underneath the Fly Emirates Bridge. I'm flying of those before they come down to the third and final chicane, the Ascari chicane, as it is Norlampi from Avery from Grunhill, and then you've got Darrell and Winter. The top 5 drivers haven't yet pitted as they then come down into the Ascari chicane. Norlampi is another leader here today. He's not officially led a lap though. He has worked himself to the front of the field, Cam.
Oh, that he has, and that car is smoking, I guess. I think that's the 3rd week in a row I've made that joke. Where that joke's dead. I do have to say, though, Juha Norolampi, he started in second, hasn't been up to the front yet, the opportunity to lead that lap is going to go away as Richard Avery is looking to the inside, and David Grinnell is even closed in enough position to warrant an attack on his position as they come out of the Parabolica. It almost looks like Juha Norolampi is tracking to the inside. No, it's not. It's David Grinnell. Is he going to take it onto the inside? Yes, he will. Yep, so that is David Grinnell by himself. He should come out in the pack, but Juha Norolampi wants to get that position over Richard Avery, and he'll end up not leading the lap. He'll lose it by 100th of a second, but ultimately, though, Richard Avery should back off easily, which, yes, he does, going into the chicane. No problems there, but just this whole pit lane sequences, I'm sure we also have more cars coming onto pit road than just David Grinnell. Yep, Frank Winter comes in, Peter Klassen, Michael Lamoral, David Stefanini, whose feet have gotten too cold, as David Stefanini is saying, my feet are too cold, give me a front wing. Mike McCormick is in, as well as Rob Adams. So the second half of this long field comes in, which will be led by Frank Winter, actually, as they'll come out right in the traffic. Paul Malocas, around de Vries, Philippe Lebert will have gone well past, but they should come out right around the tail end of that first pack, Will, and that will complete the cycle, I believe. Everyone has come into the pits now.
Grunhill is ahead, though, of Philippe Lebert by 1 second. That 1 second could well be critically important over the course of the next 5 laps or so, because there you can see David Grunhill. There you can see Philippe Lebert. Lebert needs to hope he gets himself a good draft through this lap to close that gap down to about 0.5 per second. And he needs to hope that Arjun Verde behind doesn't get too racy, because if he does, well, this could well be game over for Lebert and also game over here for De Verde. So I expect these two drivers to play nicely until they've caught up to Grunhill and until this pit stop sequence has sorted itself out. Here, though, is Avery, exit of the Ascari chicane. Down they come towards the start-finish line once again. There's Brian Dow in P3. He has dropped well off the pace from the top two drivers the last couple of laps or so. But we go back on board then with Norolampi as they work themselves down in towards the Parabolica, the curve of Parabolica. Yes, it has been paved, so it's not as magnificent as it once was. But Norolampi, Richard Avery, two drivers yet to pit. Your only two drivers now in your field not to pit, along with Brian Dow. And they are 1, 2 each going to come on towards pit road, this time by Cam.
Yes, it is. And now Richard Avery, of course, we're not used to seeing a white and red car parallel with Richard Avery's helmet there. Different livery here today instead of the normal friction racing paint scheme that you normally see from Richard Avery, as well as I noticed that we don't have Tom Ward today. So he'll pull into his pit stall, as well as Brian Duell has come into the pits as well. So people are starting to support different colored paint liveries here today, at least, as I believe Brian Duell actually blew his pit stall and he had to back up. So Richard Avery is going to be leaving, Juha Norolampi, and we will see, Will, where they come out. They should come out, yep, just ahead of the pack, though. They're actually ahead of Philippe Lebert and the rest of the field, but they shouldn't have the speed to get out ahead of him, Will.
Yeah, it's going to be a huge gaggle of cars as they come down 3 wide and towards turn 1. Norolampi had to stay on the pit inside line.
Avery keeps
and you can see that Avery does lead, but then it's Grunhill, then it's Lebert. Now, P2, 3, 4, 5 have to push because Avery is exactly 1 second ahead of David Grunhill. Grunhill, Lebert start fighting. This one is over as we ride ourselves then on board for the rest of this lap with David Grunhill. Well, you see, Grunhill has caught right up to rear of Richard Avery. Down in towards turn number 1 they come. And will Grunhill try and go to the race lead? The answer's going to be he's actually going to push Avery. I think Grunhill wants to make this a 2-horse race right now. I think that he wants to get Philippe Leber and the rest of this pack out of the equation, Cam.
Well, maybe, but it's not going to work, especially here at Monza. Maybe at another track it would be, but no, David Cornell gave him just a slight little tap there. We did see in Formula 3 that bump drafting has happened, so... actually, David Grinnell says, no, I want to lead. So he'll go on to the inside, hopefully into the, the second chicane, I believe, unless we're going up to the Lesmos here. No, we are second chicane. But no, he'll take the lead for himself there. Go a little wide, but that's okay. But now it's David Grinnell, Richard Avery, Philippe Leber. But the fighting in the rest of the pack is starting to get a very close encounter indeed. I just saw 3 cars go 3 wide into the Parabolica not too long ago, and somehow David Stefanini has re-lost his front nose cone.
Oh, so it's as if he didn't want one in the first place anyway. You can see Avery on board with him as he worked himself down into the Variante Ascari, the third chicane. There you can see Ascari. Well, it does look as though Grunhill once again looking very strong here today. As get an update on retirees here, Cam. Apart from Endo Cantor disqualified, just the one on lap number 1 with Jose Blanco.
Yeah, I mean, everyone seems to be, other than the disqualification from Enzo Canto, is actually this battle here, 4 of them, and they're trying to go as wide as they can, as wide as the track will allow them. This is the car that had the shark teeth on the front there. Will Fisher, Tointron, Kepa, Zelbride, Garcia, and Michael Limereau they're all fighting as hard as they can throughout these 4 laps. I know this is only for really the position 11. The day isn't even over yet, and they're still cutting razor. But ultimately, though, fighting all throughout the field in the Skip Barber 2K World Cup. But that's what we come to see.
Indeed, we got 5 laps of this race remaining. It's ironic, actually. I was thinking exactly the same thing as Cam at the exact same time. So it looked as though that we were lining ourselves up perfectly. It's just one of those fluke things, ladies and gentlemen. We're not that good. As you can see, 1 wide, 2 wide already.
Yes, we are.
From our aerial coverage as they come down in toward turn number 1, the Variante Rettofilo. As well, they are 3 wide already. Are they going to make it 4 wide? Nope, they're not. They're going to stay 3 wide for the time being. That's nice and conservative, shall we say, Cam, in this battle for P number 11 through 14.
It is. It's some corners these guys are taking the corners as aggressively as possible, and other times they're being very nice. I think through the first chicane, everyone understands it's the first chicane at Monza. We have seen so many wrecks in both the virtual world and the real world that I think everyone just understands it. Just be careful. So they're careful through that first chicane, but once you start getting really past that first chicane, the gloves really start to come off, though, as we'll actually see a bit of a bump there on the black and gold car number 134 of Tointron as they'll go into that second chicane. But yeah, they'll still come out 1, 2, 3, 4. And Will Fisher actually cut the course a little bit there. Yes, he did. He jumped over those barriers. They actually popped the car up pretty good, too. He got a slow down penalty, pulled off. And so now he will have to cycle back to that pack. But ultimately, though, these cars are still fighting very hard, as they're still fighting hard up front. And actually, Alonso Vrid has announced himself. He's finally starting to run out of, not run out of patience, but he's starting to make the tactical moves that he needs to move to go up front. Is actually, I'm wondering whatever happened to Richard Avery. He's up ahead of David Grunhill. No, he's ahead of Grunhill. I was like, hey, wait a second here. No, so leader is Richard Avery right now, but Grunhill is right behind. Is it? Oh, Leber's ahead of him. Hey, I really need a camera that's forward-facing, I tell you. Philippe Leber has, you know what? That's not too bad at all. He managed to keep the car going after that little bit of a bump. He worked his way from 8th back, and now he's up on the point. He'll lead another lap. I don't think he'll be leading into the chicane here, as you've got 5 cars that are going to have the overspeed. But you know what? Ultimately, though, if they can keep this stuff clean, it is going to be a very exciting finish, Will. Yeah,
and the gap at the line between P1 and P number 2. Just trying to figure it out. It was not much, shall we say. It was
2 tenths.
2 tenths of a second. Not much. But in Monza, that's absolutely miles. So here you can see your top 5 drivers. It's David Grunhill, 207 car. from Richard Avery in the number 29 machine. Then Philippe Labert in third, Arjun Deverde in fourth, and then Euro Noalampi rounding out your top 5. It is a 5-car pack. We got ourselves another 5-car pack with Paul Malone. Well, not really a pack. Single drivers running by themselves. Paul Malokas captured himself and Brian Dow, 2.1 seconds. Then from Dahl to Dakota Fripp, 2.6 seconds. Then you got yourself Dakota Fripp to Frank Winter, about 0.4 of a second. And then to round out your top 10 is Matt Defoe. The gap between Winter and Defoe is currently 0.4 of a second. And then 13 seconds back is that crazy pack that we've got, led by Tuan Tran. And he is running in P number 11. Yes, Cam.
No, I was just saying, you said Tuan Tron. I was following you on the screen. You just said that he went into the second chicane sideways. But he straightened that right back out, though, and he's actually managed to pull quite a gap around him, though, so that's good for him there. This pack seems to have fallen away, which fighting mostly does, though. But, Will, as we're halfway through lap number 14, though, we're starting to really get into the closing stages. People are going to definitely have to start making their moves now.
With this kind of racing, Cam, you want to be in P number 2 at this point on the final lap of the race. Yeah, I agree. But it's of course, don't forget, the start-finish line is early. This finish line is early here. You've got a finish line and you've got a start line. The finish line is kind of way before the start line. We're going to see if we can show you it from our aerial coverage. We'll just zoom in there. As you'll see that right about... Wait for it. It's just behind the trees we go, so we couldn't actually see it there. But the finish line is actually just before the start line, Cam. That is worth noting.
It is. It's a different finishing from a different start, and obviously it's so those types of finishes where the second place car would always come ahead, as they'll go 3 wide into the... No, they won't. They managed to make that work, though, as they'll exit 2 by 2. From position 2 back, but I have to say, though, if they keep fighting like this, that car of Paul Malokas is going to manage to find a way, and Paul Malokas having, well, actually, he started in 7th and he's in 6th now, so not a bad day for him, but actually, they keep fighting like this, they're going to be slowing each other down, but I guess at this point, it does not matter, it is whoever is up in the point on the final lap in that final straight.
Yeah, and Avery moves himself to the point, 2.5 laps to go in this evening's event. Well, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget that if you love Sunday Night Skippies, we do it all over again on Monday night with Monday Night Skippies here on RaceSpotTV. It's the Club UK and Ireland Skip Barber Racing School Series, and it is in support of Shelter. That is Monday Night Skippies. And our start time for that is 8 p.m. GMT. Well, 2.5 laps to go. Avery moved himself down to the inside into the second of the 3 chicanes, and he got himself a race lead. Labor gave that one to him pretty easily. Now it's a case of when will Labor attack? Will he just wait in line? It's difficult to do here, Cam, because if it's a one-on-one, that's what you do. But now you got Grunhill, who's fast, Noalampi, who's hungry, and Deverde, who would love a win. Let's not forget also that we had in the middle part of the season 2 free races in a row where in the final lap of the race we had ourselves an incident involving the race leader.
Yes, it has just been, and they haven't been terrible incidents. They haven't been atrocious incidents where people were wrecking each other like it was like the truck series on a road course type of incidents, or a Trans Am type of thing where people will throw each other off to, get themselves ahead. Of course not. This is the 2K series, but it just has been super close fighting. You can tell that all the drivers here care very much about what's going on, as Richard Avery will lead a lap. Philippe Labert, as we start lap number 16, 2 laps to go, with David Grenell, Juha Norlampi, and Aron Zavrid, as it is just these 5 cars, and we'll have to see. Pick one, Will. I don't know which one's going to come out on top.
Well, the gap at the line lap time by 143 one-thousandths of a second between Avery and Labor, but Labor moves himself back to the point, then Avery in second. You got to be careful when you go side by side in towards turn 1 that you don't lose momentum. We've seen that happen here before. Grunhill working himself side by side with Euro Noalampi, as you can see on board with Grunhill now down in towards Curva Grande, through Curva Grande, in towards the second chicane, and that is the number 34 machine of Deverde, just moving himself now up in towards P number 4 for a moment. Not going to last though, because Grunhill, it will move himself back up into that 4th spot, Cam.
Yes, he is. These cars they're just switching around each other with absolutely no it doesn't look like they're pushing these cars extraordinarily hard, but if you've got the trained eyes that we have here from watching all of it, these guys are definitely putting as much of it into it as they can. They just know where the line is, that invisible line of where the car needs to be, and they're all stepping the car and putting it right on that line, as Richard Avery now is going to be looking around, maybe to get into, where are we, Parabolica possibly, actually, as they go under the bridge. As he'll have the position completely with Juha Norlampi behind, as, no, actually, I lied, there's a chicane, and then we're going to head that way towards the Parabolica. You know, in Monza, it's either a straight or a chicane.
Well, yeah, or a Lesmo or a Parabolica, but that actually worked really well for Philippe Labert, and I wouldn't expect to see him necessarily go to the point, although he looks like he might try and do so. And you can see Nora Lampu, they're starting to form up, almost Talladega style, too wide, almost too deep, into the Parabolica. Labert holds the inside line. Avery on the outside line. Laura Lampi also on the outside line. They will see the white flag this time by, ladies and gentlemen, no point in even talking about who positions are until they get down towards turn number 1. So let's have a look. 3 wide, here they come to take the white flag. Almost looking 4 wide, not enough room, but the inside line will go for the time being to Philippe Labert as they come down in towards turn number 1. Here we go. One more lap of Monza, Cam.
It is, oh my goodness, a crazy entry into turn number 1 is, they almost look like they cut wheels, but they didn't. Nora Lampi had to back it off there. David Grinnell was the decider in the entry into turn number 1. He bumped Richard Avery up ahead just as he had done before. As they will come through. Philippe Labert now finding himself in a position he might not want to be in, as Richard Avery is looking to go on the inside. No, Richard Avery is going to back off. Oh, no, chap, I don't want to lead this. As Nora Lampi will go on the outside of Aron de Vries. De Vries being very patient, but Nora Lampi getting clipped. His front wheels clipping the rear end of David Grinnell, but everybody is okay. It just gaps them out a little bit. They are still racing here, Will, and we have got just about half a lap to go here at Monza.
Yeah. Oh, Labert goes off! Labert goes off! That's going to allow Avery to close right up on the run down through the second Lesmo, down towards Ascari, and Labert goes off again. That means that Avery will be right on the coattails now of Labert as they come down into the Variante Ascari for the final time here today. Now, Avery has already won the championship with this result. He doesn't need to go for the win, but this is Richard Avery we're talking about. Avery would love to get himself another victory to cap off this season. David Grunhill is there. He may well be the Joker as they head themselves out of Ascari for the final time down towards Parabolica. And let's get our photo finish cameras ready, ladies and gentlemen, because here we go in towards the Parabolica for the final time. 1 wide, 2 wide, 3 wide. Grunhill on the outside. In the middle, it's Avery. Inside, it's going to be Labert. But around the middle will be Richard Avery. And he's going to dart to the outside. But who would it be at the start-finish line? Would it be Avery? Would it be Labert? Would it be Grunhill towards the start-finish line? They will come. And the winner, look at the way photo finish here today. And the winner, it looks as though it is going to be Richard Avery by 13 1/1000ths of a second. And what has just happened to Philippe Labert? I believe he got disqualified in the final corner of the final lap. But wow, what a run. Richard Avery, 13 1/1000ths of a second, Cam.
Absolutely, and it I don't know what happened necessarily with Aron de Vries and Nora Lampi, but it looks just like they went all straight 3 wides there. They crossed the finish line, which of course is before the start line, and this is how it is on my screen. In 38 minutes, 38 seconds, Richard Avery has come away with an amazing win, with David Grinnell finishing 1/1000th of a second, Philippe Labert finishing 2/1000ths of a second. I was going to say, I was trying to fit it in there from position 0 to position 5. There was less than 0.5 of a second between them. It was a crapshoot to the finish there, and my, what a finish.
Oh, yeah. That is what you call a photo finish, ladies and gentlemen. By this point, Richard Avery had already pretty much won the race, but look at how close it was. As we get a look from our aerial coverage, the 3 were literally side by side as they headed themselves down towards the end of this event and then past the start finish line. What an incredible way to round off a season here, Cam. Richard Avery does claim victory, however, and he does it in incredible fashion once again.
Now that he does, I almost want to say if David Grinnell didn't move his car over, if he just kept it on the straight, maybe he would have had a better shot. But still, Richard Avery going through the middle, as you said, around the middle. I was going to say that's not. He went through the middle of the two cars there, and he has come away with the win and the championship. And if you're coming away with the championship, that's how you want to finish a season.
Around the middle isn't officially a phrase because I made it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm allowed
to. Yes. All right, that's fine. But Richard Avery, what a great way to cap off a good season.
There was the start-finish line we were alluding to for the oval, but there you can see as well just how close this finish was here for these drivers. It was that close, and look at that. Avery in the middle there. Barber on the on the left-hand side of your picture. Then you've got on the right-hand side of your picture there, you can see as they head past the start-finish line, was a 207 car as well of David Grunhill. Absolutely incredible stuff, ladies and gentlemen. As we also had ourselves a bit of a battle going on behind as well that we need to show you as well as these drivers headed themselves towards the start-finish line. It wasn't completely over and done with throughout your field. We had ourselves side-by-side going on all the way down through some parts of your pack, but we are going to show yourself, ladies and gentlemen, first, your final race results.
Oh.
So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, it's officially Richard Avery in first, David Grunhill in second, then Felipe Barber in third, then Arjun Verd in fourth, Royal Ampi in fifth, Paul Malocas in sixth, Brian Dow, Frank Winter, Matt Defoe, Dakota Fripp. They round out your top 10. Then behind Tran in P number 11, Michael Laramorix in 12, and Will Fisher in 13. We're going to get that one up for you in just 1 second's time. We've got it ready for you on the replay. Then we've got Peter Clayson, Marcel Seedle, David Stefani, Rod Adams, Edward Cavalier, Jerome Hag, and Mike McCormack. They round out your top 20. Then you can see the remainder of your results here today. 27 drivers attempted to qualify, 26 started the race, only one retiree here today. 2 retirees. They are Jose Blanco and Enzo Cantor. Now, we're going to get ourselves a look, and this is Peter Clayson riding on board with him. This is actually down into the Parabolica, and we're just going to get ourselves a look at this one then, because we had ourselves another photo finish. This was down at the rear, middle part of your field even. Peter Clayson and Will Fisher pretty much side by side. They head themselves down towards the start finish line. Another incredible finish by them. Yes, Cam.
Peter Clayson got a great view of it, though. The three cars that were involved were Talentron, Michael Limaru, and Will Fisher. Actually, I think they had a closer finish than the front leaders, and seeing as we had to watch it in slow-mo 3 or 4 times to figure out what the heck happened there, that is impressive. 2 3-wide finishes. I have to say, though, Michael Lamorox and Will Fisher, they both finished behind the leader in 26 seconds and 373 tenths.
Yes,
so both of them crossing the line at the exact same time. That is just impressive.
Oh yeah, there's a look on your replay screen as we speak right about now. We have got Felipe Barber here, however, coming home in P number 3 here today. Felipe, that could very easily have been P1 or P2. Take us through another crazy event at Monza.
Yeah, it could have gone either way. It was a hectic race because I had to climb my way back to the lead group because Enzo Canta pushed me off the track, so I had to slow down for 5 seconds. So I was multiple seconds behind the lead group, and I tried to gain that back in the pit stops, which more or less worked. And I worked together with Arjan to catch, to make up time. And in the end, we ended up with a group of 5. And it all came down to the last corner because I had no idea what would have been best to lead in the last lap or be 3rd or 2nd. I just gambled on taking P1 and hope for little mistakes behind me so that I could have a clear run, but that didn't happen. And 3rd place with how much was it? 0.02 of a second behind first. I'll take it.
Well, of course, another season is coming up in just a couple of weeks' time. Before that, though, it's time to go eliminator racing in 6 days' time, which is always a very different feel to a normal Skip Barber 2K World Cup race. Just as exciting, however. And, of course, we'll be going back to Monza for that one.
Yes, we're going to do Monza again, but we'll use the junior layout. It has 2 very long straights and parabolica, and then a few like left right flicks like a chicane, and we'll see what that will do to the format of the eliminator race.
Well done. And Philippe Labour, of course, battling out in the championship. Doesn't win the championship this time by. However, another chance for him to do that will be starting in just 2 weeks. The championship, however, ladies and gentlemen, will go to Richard Avery. He won the race. He wins the championship. As that is all we have time for here today. Thank you very much, Will Vincent and Cam Walsh here on RaceSpotTV. Don't forget, we've got a iRacing RaceSpot triple header coming your way next Saturday. We've got coverage of the iRacing.com World Championship Grand Prix Series for Justin Wilson 150, and then of course also the Skip Barber 2K Eliminator, all in one day here on the world's greatest sim racing broadcast. So that is RaceSpotTV. But this has been a presentation of another season of the Skip Barber 2K World Cup. Myself, Will Vincent, from Cam Walsh, and everyone here on RaceSpotTV. We shall talk to you all next time. Bye bye.